Hello VIPers. I realised that if I found this too complex, then what hope was there for people who had sustained a brain injury? We want our patients to use the things that we are teaching them, but they will only do this if they have insight, and they will only develop insight if they understand what it is that they're doing. Rule number 3. Structure your approach to maximise your efficiency and effectiveness. The fourth approach to rehabilitation is called functional activities training. And the aim here is to apply the education, the process training and the strategy training into real life activities. This may explain our observation that male brain patients tend to respond with anger when they feel out of control. The frontal lobes act as our brakes, our dampeners for things that we want to do. Anger as a primary emotion drives up from the subcortical, subconscious parts of the brain and hits the frontal lobe, where usually it would be monitored and dampened down or expressed as the situation is judged. Another one that we found works very well is leave, cool, return, explain. As the patient feels anger, instead of reacting then, they just walk out. They calm down. When they've calmed down, they come back into the situation and then they explain why they were feeling angry. They need to learn to model their life on these new skills and new difficulties. Once they have this successfully done, then they will be able to be happy. So your job should revolve around this concept of awareness, this concept of new sense of self. Remember though that you are reorganizing their neural pathways. So you're giving them new information. It's no longer the old person. You're trying to help them create a new person, this new sense of self. This can't be done by giving the education once or twice or maybe even 3 or 4 times. This has to be drip fed in, and you need to be consistent with the education and be prepared to do this over a long period of time. Carl Jung, the Swiss psychologist, suggested
these universal themes or archetypes are reflections or aspects of the human mind.
the patient needs to try out what they can do and what they can't do now. They need to try out what you've taught them, and they need to do this in order to begin to believe in their new sense of self. They need to be able to get to a point where they can trust it. So the approach to the innermost cave, or call that the core of the problem, and the ordeal is the application of what you're teaching them in their life. A little bit more controversially, and I say controversially because some people got very upset with me on some of my training courses when I suggested this. I'm looking out for your emails now in shock and horror that I dare say this. So just to recap, the patient is in a very difficult place following their injury. They want to be back to life as normal. Yay! But they're being told by therapists like yourself and myself that this is not possible.
This isn't possible.
And they begin to learn this. They are on a journey into the unknown to develop a new sense of who they are. They are the central figure in this real-life drama and can be characterized as a hero or a heroine.
It's a bird!
As they battle difficulties until they forge an adjusted position.
I am different, and it is not all bad. There is a lot of good to appreciate too.
I often presented the hero's journey as a step into an adventure to my patients. It was pointed out to me by some of the patients that an adventure can actually be quite scary. It's something that you try not to have, something you try not to be part of. But the way I always meant it was as something optimistic, something exciting, something daring, something to go and try out. Challenging but fruitful. And it's this second element that I tried to really harness as much as possible with my patients. An ally is a powerful social relationship. It's someone you trust, someone who makes you smile, and most important, someone you can see and talk to often. So before we start, I would like you to consider a question. Why do you work in this field? Why do you work with people following brain injury? What do I want to achieve with my patients? Oh, and by the way, answer these questions as if you have a perfect working environment with all the resources you need and the amount of time that would allow you to do it as well. How can we do this? Well, here are some ideas in no particular order. So the first thing is to develop excellent rapport with the patient. Now this is really all about making them feel loved and therefore safe. By doing this, you're ensuring that one of their wants, one of their desires, the need for safety, is being met. This must be genuine. You cannot fake this. So I'm going to talk about those techniques in a moment, but first off, let's just see what happens in the brain when we meditate. So certain things in the brain are switched off and certain things are switched on. And a typical pattern would be aspects of your frontal lobe switch on. The need to pay close attention to a single thing is switched on, but the need to alternate attention and switch it and do multitasking is switched off. So aspects of frontal functioning are enhanced and other aspects are dampened down. Parts of the parietal lobe are dampened down as well. So this then would give people the sensation of being bigger than they are or smaller than they are, because it's our parietal lobe which gives us our body. I'm grossly simplifying this, but that is essentially what was discovered.
Wow!
When I first heard about it, I thought, well, that's not very believable. But I tried it on myself and I had an amazing experience with it. And we've tried this with many of our patients and have had a very high success rate with our patients using this. Not everybody likes it when they first start listening to it. Some patients find it irritating, as some of you will, but stick with it because it seems to work for about 75% of people. Each one still takes a large number of hours to produce, so I hope you think they're worth it.
They're okay if you like that kind of thing. Be change become. Practice it takes.
So I could say something like, "Queria copo de vinho, per favor," which should really sound like this.
Queria copo de vinho, por favor.
Do you see what I mean? I try though. You must link the patient's strategy use with their level of awareness, otherwise you're wasting your time. Absolutely nothing. There is no point. Well, that's not quite the end of my statement.
Really?
There is no... Keep up the good work and keep safe, and I will see you soon. Bye for now.